I'm Andy, this is Nick, and we have the pleasure to have the fabulous Jeremy Harmer with us.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Jeremy, we were speaking earlier about a few things. Let's talk about the Extensive Reading Award. Is that correct? Is that what it's called?
There's an award ceremony this evening for the Extensive Reading Foundation. And in 2004 they set up an award for the best learner literature published around the world, and it's voted for by teachers but also by students. And so we have awards are given, and so tonight we're presenting awards for last year and telling everyone what the shortlist is for the next lot of books, and then you can vote online for them, and anyone can vote. And what I love about it is that the actual readers get to vote. It's not just the industry or the people who know readers, it's students who read them.
Great.
Who do the voting.
And where can people go then to vote?
If you Google the Extensive Reading Foundation, you'll find it.
All right.
Extensive Reading Foundation.
Super.
And that's it. And I'm not a member of the organisation. I've written some readers, some learner literature, but I am passionate about it because the research is overwhelming. If you can get students to read at a level that they're comfortable with, and provided you give them the choice about the level they read at, and more importantly, the topics and the titles they want to read, the more they read, the better they get at English. It's literally as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so it's great. And writing readers is really good fun. Very difficult, but good fun.
Excellent. We were also talking earlier, and I had my hands on your new book. It's just come out.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about it a little bit. I didn't get to spend enough time with it.
It's called Essential Teacher Knowledge, and it's a foundation level methodology book because that's my main area of interest. And because there is now quite an interest in people preparing to become teachers at a very early stage, and especially people whose first language isn't necessarily English, we wanted to offer a book that was enjoyable, fun, easy to read, and that's what we've tried to do. And so we've, I mean, sounds rather technical, but it's a proper colour book.
Yeah.
It feels more like a course book than a methodology book. It's got a DVD with examples of exactly how to teach. But the thing that I like about it most is that I've interviewed little snippets of interviews with teachers from all over the world, and we put them in just to give new people a sort of window into the world of English language teaching. This answer's going on way too long, but because what I love about my profession and I love about IATEFL, but if you're working on your own in Belarus, you probably don't know, is that English language teaching is we're part of a worldwide family. There's a whole family of people who are involved in the teaching and learning of English from every single country in the world. And you need to celebrate that and love it. And that's why we come to the IATEFL conference, because it's such an incredible meeting of people who work in Morocco and Tunisia and Argentina and Brazil and Mexico, everywhere you can think of. And so what we've done in the book is we've got lots of teachers from different countries just talking a little bit about what they do, and the idea is to celebrate, just have a celebration. Great.
I mean, there's also a bit of online content. I obviously didn't get to check that out. Can you tell me what's...
Yeah, that'll build up. In the book we've got what we call a glosstext, probably not an original idea, but a mixture of a glossary and an index, which takes you back into all the various technical terms in the book. And then there's a sort of scratch thing which gives you a code into our online content, where we'll have more, the glossary will grow, the bibliography will grow, we're going to put more interviews, and then crucially, and they'll be up very soon, we're going to have lots of sort of exam type exercises for trainers and people to use if they want. Because we know perfectly well that some of our readers will be people who are preparing for the teaching knowledge test. And the book isn't for that, though it is for that, but I mean it's meant to be more general. So we've got stuff online.
Yeah, it looks good.
You go. No.
Yeah? Okay. One final question about the book. I'm a fiend when it comes to collecting material and reading this stuff, and do teacher training as well, so that's why I'm excited. But on the DVD, you mentioned that there were interviews.
Yeah.
Is there also footage of classrooms?
Yeah, absolutely. In London, we got 3 teachers to teach some classes for us and to do some specific things. And so, we've got an example of someone doing some reading aloud to show how we think it can be done, because I think reading aloud is done appallingly badly all around the world, but if you do it well, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
We've got examples of showing how you can put students into groups and pairs.
Right.
There's a teacher called Connor. You see him setting up a reading activity.
Yeah.
So they're just straightforward, very straightforward examples of teaching practice with them. Of course, it's a typical kind of class of students in a UK setting, so there are students from different countries, different languages, so it's not typical of some situations in that respect, but it gives you a clear idea of some basic techniques, essentially.
Yeah. I think I would be really happy if there were more of that.
It's really difficult to find, isn't it? Examples of teachers actually in the classroom and teaching, and to be able to show new teachers, hey, this is what it really looks like, can be so beneficial. I mean, it can take away a bit of the fear. I remember the first time I taught, had no idea what it would be like, and was just terrified.
Me too. I was terrified for a year.
It's a weird business. We had an event last night to celebrate 50 years of the founding of the International House Teacher Training course, which, in my opinion, was a sort of key moment in the development of our profession. And as a model of teacher training, it has literally spread all over the world. And a huge number of teachers at this conference and watching online will be the beneficiaries of this. Of what John Haycraft did. He had this extraordinary idea, which was that instead of just teaching people theory and lecturing at them, you could actually, in a short time, give them practical advice on how to teach, actually get them standing up in front of a class on day one of the course, and give them techniques and activities and things like that. And the reason that came into my head is what you just said. I can still remember the very first teaching practice I was asked to do in front of real students, and it was completely terrifying. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever done.
At least you can remember it, though.
But, yes,
I don't remember mine.
I started my career as doing the 1 month introductory course, and I can remember it. It was like just the way the course was taught, and what we did was like, it was like, wow,
completely.
I'd done a degree, and I was a mature student, I wasn't a very good student, so, and it was like, hey, all this stuff, why I've been such a bad student makes sense to me now, this is, what I should be doing.
Like so many people of my age, teachers of my age, I mean, I didn't really know, I was living in London, failing to make a living as a singer-songwriter, which is what I wanted to be, but luckily the rest of the world didn't agree with this, otherwise you'd have been... Anyway, and I went along to International House with no real expectation, except it sounded like something I could try. And I had the same thing as you, and you just go, wow, what's this? And some of the people on my course, I have no idea what happened to them, but you just sort of knew it probably wasn't for them, and they might do it for a bit. But for some of us, you just sort of go,
frustrated performers. I was a failed jazz musician,
I remember we've talked about this before, and yes, that's right. But I mean, the brilliance of John Hay, it is something to do with performance, but it's also something to do with equipping teachers with the most sort of elemental skills about how to be in a classroom and how to stand, and then a 4-week course is no place to learn how to teach. It's got lots wrong with it, but it's a fantastic way of getting you able to stand up in front of the class and actually do something or other fairly useful. And then you start to grow and learn and diversify.
But you've been developing a parallel career now, aren't you? Because you are performing again now and you are singing. So is that kind of, are they parallel, or are there places where they touch those kind of two?
I've had, in case anyone watching doesn't know about this, I have a colleague and a friend called Steve Bingham. He's nothing to do with English language teaching at all. He's just one of the most brilliant musicians in the world, and he does this incredible. He's a violinist, but he does this incredible looping technology with electric violins and pedals and computers, and it's all. And we know each other through one of my amateur hobbies. I'm an amateur musician, And we started doing shows together. And the first show we did was called Touchable Dreams, which was a mixture of poetry and music. And we loved doing that, and because the music kind of does something to the meaning of the poetry, and the poetry kind of seems to change the character of the music. Anyway, we did that, and we did it actually in Harrogate in the IATEFL conference a few years ago. And as a result of that, the British Council asked us to do a special show this year.
Great.
To celebrate the 200th anniversary of Charles Dickens. That's right. And so we did a show called Bent and Broken into a Better Shape, which you can actually watch online if you want to, because we did the show on February the 9th this year in London to a big audience. And it was just the best fun ever, because you get to, we chose 8 or 9 passages from Dickens which I introduce, and then Steve works magic behind them with some incredible music, and it's a riveting, it's wonderful, you know. And we've taken the show abroad, and then we're going to New York in July. We're doing 2 weeks in Mexico doing the poetry show and the Dickens show. It's just, I love it.
Great.
I think we should do a IATEFL talent show like they do it at TESOL France.
Yes.
We can have you guys, and Bethany Cagnol has a great voice. Luke Meddings I've seen.
He's a great musician.
Russell Stannard. I envy you all because I don't have that.
I must come in on that. That's a really in Cardiff, IATEFL, which was about 3 or 4 years ago. Adrian Underhill and I organised a sort of. He and I organised a sort of just come and sing thing. And I'm not quite sure whether we haven't done it again, but it was one of the sweetest nights of my life because people did come. We had there was one of the world's. He was a great player, a genuinely great player of the Japanese flute, and Bethany sang, and is wonderful. One of her colleagues sang, and then the moment for me which stands out, and there was a Chinese guy who sang incredibly folk songs from China. Lots of people singing and doing things like that, but the one that stands out for me, and evenings can do this, was a woman from Estonia who didn't have an accompanist with her. Was not necessarily a particularly good singer, but she just sang unaccompanied a little song from Estonia and broke our hearts. It was just magic. And yes, we do need to have more another come and open mic night, because you know what I love about English language teaching, and so many of the people down here and wandering around the conference, there's just masses of people who do lots of other wonderful things as well as teach.
You
know, let's celebrate.
We'll have to leave it there. That's a great moment to leave it. We still have sunshine, and we still have Robert Hill coming along in a few minutes, so stay online, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
Bye.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that needs to happen. That needs to happen.